If you are thinking about moving to Charlotte, North Carolina, here's the truth. You should not trust the highlight reels or the overly polished relocation videos because they tend to skip over the parts that actually matter. Charlotte is changing fast, and some of the things people loved about living here 5-10 years ago are now becoming real challenges today. The reality is this. Cost of living is not what it used to be. Traffic is going to test your patience. And the housing market can surprise even people moving here from very expensive cities. But at the same time, the job opportunities, the quality of life, and the overall growth in Charlotte are genuinely incredible. This is why thousands of people are still relocating here every single month. This city continues to feel like a place where you can reinvent your life, build stability, and still enjoy a relaxed day-to-day pace that bigger metros simply cannot offer anymore. I'm Justin, your local Charlotte realtor, and today I'm breaking down the real pros and cons of living in Charlotte, North Carolina, using real data and on-the-ground experience helping people relocate here every week. If you want the full neighborhood, school, and cost breakdown, my free relocation guide is linked down below. All right, let's jump into the things you absolutely need to know before making the move. Pro number one, and that is going to be the juggernaut job market. Pro number one is easily the biggest driver for relocations. Charlotte's job market and overall economic power are simply not slowing down anytime soon. In fact, Charlotte is growing faster than most people outside North Carolina even realize. The city is becoming a major national force in a way that feels very different from a decade ago. Most people know Charlotte is the second largest banking center in the country, but what often gets overlooked is how widespread the economic growth really is. We have major headquarters and massive operational centers for Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and Truist, along with dozens of fast-growing fintech companies that offer some of the highest salaries that Charlotte has. The key difference from 10 years ago is that it's not just finance anymore. Healthcare, specialized tech, renewable energy, manufacturing, engineering, supply chain management, logistics, they've all surged to meet the needs of the growing population we have. Now with these fields are bringing in stable, well-paying jobs, relocations from other states, and they offer long-term career growth without requiring people to move away later. And as you can see off 2025's data, Charlotte's unemployment is at 3.4%. Now people are moving here because they can build a sophisticated career without dealing with the crushing housing costs and the intense local taxes that cities like New York, Boston, Washington, Chicago, they're known for. Now, if your skill set is in finance, nursing, engineering, tech, teaching, hospitality, banking operations, or even logistics, Charlotte is one of the most opportunity-rich and stable metros that you can choose today. And that career stability is one of the major factors driving our rapid population growth that we're seeing. All right, moving on to pro number two, and that is going to be one of my favorites, which is the Charlotte Airport. If you travel for work or even just enjoy weekend trips, this is a massive advantage, being within 30 minutes of the airport within many different parts of the city. Unlike major cities where the airport is a stressful, hour-long drive from downtown, Charlotte Airport sits roughly 15 to 20 minutes away from uptown, and you could even be 10 minutes away depending on if you're in west part of Charlotte. It is a major American Airlines hub with non-stop flights to hundreds of destinations across the country and internationally. I actually honeymooned in Barbados, and there was a non-stop flight, which is perfect. So if you're a frequent traveler, this drastically cuts down on the time you spend commuting, parking, checking in, getting through security. I have TSA pre-check. I get in within 15 minutes. Now, in many larger metros, getting to the airport can feel like an entire event. In Charlotte, it feels more like a quick errand. As long as you can have a friend or an Uber drop you off, it's really stress-free. You can leave work, head straight to the terminal, and be through the gate surprisingly fast. So for that, anyone who values convenience, the Charlotte Douglas Airport is a huge quality of life boost. And if you're coming from New York or another relative city, you can fly back very quickly. Pro number three, and that is going to be the cost of living, the realistic view. Now, let me be precise. Charlotte is not cheap anymore. It is no longer the budget-friendly southern city people remember from the early 2010s before COVID. But when you compare daily cost of living to cities like New York, California, DC, Denver, Chicago, Miami, Charlotte still remains significantly more reasonable. Groceries, utilities, gas, restaurants, gyms, haircuts, pet grooming, all these everyday services are often lower in this city relative to the others, and that has to do with the rent prices as well. Even luxury neighborhoods like South Park, Ballantyne, Dilworth, and Myers Park offer a better overall value for the number of amenities you get. So while Charlotte is not inexpensive at the local level, it still allows people moving from a higher cost of living market to stretch their income further when they come out here. I see that especially in the New Yorkers that have a pension, the money goes much farther. You get more house, more yard, more space, and more comfort for your dollar. This is a major reason the relocation wave continues year after year. And pro number 4, and that is going to be lifestyle and outdoor access. This is going to be one of the main reasons we moved down here. Charlotte offers a modern, fast-paced growing city experience while still maintaining an active, outdoor-friendly environment that's surprisingly accessible. You get pro sports like the Hornets, the Panthers, Charlotte FC games are huge out here, and you still have the big concerts that come into town because we're a major city. There's a strong restaurant scene. Everywhere you go, you can find somewhere to eat. And there's a huge brewery culture. They put up more breweries than they do libraries out here, I swear. And there's always events going on around the city. If you're looking for something to do, you can follow a source like Axios. They offer great tips. The city has a ton of green space and outdoor access. It's actually one of the biggest cities with the most greenery, tree canopies. And the weather is a huge bonus. You get all 4 seasons here: mild winters, warm summers, colorful falls, fresh springs, so you can still enjoy outdoor activities year-round without the extreme conditions that the north brings, or the south. It's one of the many reasons New Yorkers come down here. Sometimes New Yorkers try Florida, realize it's too hot, too humid, and they come halfway back up to settle in North or South Carolina. And the U.S. National Whitewater Center is a huge attraction out here. You can kayak, mountain bike, zip line, paddleboard, rock climb, or just walk the trails and relax. They also have events there all the time. Now, Lake Norman and Lake Wylie offer the boating, fishing, waterfront dining that you might be looking for. One of Charlotte's biggest advantages is the location. You can drive 2 hours west to the mountains to go hiking. You can drive 3.5 hours to the East Coast to go to the beach. We love going to Wilmington, visiting Carolina Beach for the weekend, but I wouldn't want to live there. It's too humid year round and there's tourists everywhere. Now, this balance between city living, outdoor recreation, and enjoyable weather is one of the biggest reasons people love the Queen City. Now, let's talk about the cons, why you should not move to Charlotte. And the first one is one of the most surprising for many newcomers. Like I said earlier, Charlotte is no longer inexpensive. If you look back 10 years pre-COVID, everyone talked about how inexpensive it is to move out here. The life we knew there is now gone because house prices have nearly doubled in the last 5 years out here. Now, housing prices have climbed year after year because the demand has not slowed down, with thousands and thousands of people moving down here every month. And usually they come from selling their property with a lot of equity to buying out here. People from high cost of living markets, especially New York, are coming in with strong budgets and pensions, and that competition has pushed prices higher, especially in the popular neighborhoods like Ballantyne and Waxhaw. But if you are moving from a more affordable state or a smaller southern city, Charlotte will be expensive. The median home price is now over $400,000, and if you want to get into a bigger house, nicer area, expect that price point just to be higher and higher. Housing inventory is still tight. The best school zones are always highly competitive. That's Ballantyne, Marvin, Providence, Waxhaw, all these Fort Mill schools, they're all still highly competitive if they're zoned for the right school. Anywhere inside the 485 loop is going to command higher prices, especially if you're in the south part of Charlotte. Now, if you want areas like Ballantyne, South Park, Huntersville, Fort Mill, or South End, you just have to be strategic with the timing, the budget, and the expectations of what that money can get you in those areas. So the steady appreciation is the real sting. You have to be proactive and selective when you choose your future neighborhood. Now, to be fair though, the entire negative uppricing can be a great thing once you're the one that actually owns a property out here, and then you get to enjoy the appreciation that Charlotte has to offer over the next decade or two. Now, con number 2, and that is going to be traffic. Charlotte is a car-first city. If you are used to dense public transit in places like New York, Chicago, DC, or Boston, Charlotte will feel like a completely different lifestyle. You will almost always need a car unless you live directly on the light rail line and work in South End or Uptown. And as you've probably heard, the light rail or any public transportation always brings a safety concern to big cities. Now, with traffic, there's highway bottlenecks, especially on 77, 485. There's always an accident on 77, no matter the day or time, I swear. And it can be extremely frustrating depending on where you're driving from and to. And as the population keeps growing, congestion is outpacing road improvements. Luckily, we actually just passed a new sales tax increase from 7.25 to 8.25% to fund a comprehensive transit upgrade. It's much needed out here. The reality is, if we don't fix the infrastructure, it will be very challenging to adapt to all the growth in the next decade. Public transit is improving, but the coverage is still limited. Our transit score sits low at about 27 out of 100. So if commute time matters to your life, choosing the right neighborhood based on your workplace is essential. I personally live in Ballantyne, which is South Charlotte, and I don't have to drive more than a few minutes away from my day-to-day life, unless I am showing homes around the city, of course. But if I had to commute in Uptown, it would easily be 30 to 45 minutes depending on traffic. Now, con number 3, and that is going to be the hidden cost, aka HOA Nation. Charlotte has a very high percentage of HOA governed communities. Nearly every subdivision recently built has an HOA. Now the good news is that HOAs help maintain community standards and home values. It stops your neighbor from leaving 20 junk cars in their yard and affecting your neighborhood value and curb appeal. But the downside is that HOA dues are mandatory in a high majority of neighborhoods. They're not optional. And on top of the monthly costs, there are rules with that as well. Parking rules, rental restrictions are huge out here, landscaping requirements, even limitations on exterior paint colors. Now, many people love HOAs because of the orderliness, but many people do not. I work with sellers all the time who are leaving because they can't stand their HOA anymore. And the clients who I work with who want to move to a no HOA community are always looking on the outskirts of the city limits unless they have a very high budget. So if you are buying in Charlotte, this is something you must factor into your future home, HOA or not. Now, to be fair, if the HOA is run well, you get amazing community amenities, a social club, playgrounds, pickleball, and just a united feel. But if the HOA isn't run well, you question everything your dues cover and what they even do. Con number 4, and that is the growing pains and inconsistent schools. This is a reality of the rapid growth we've had. Charlotte has expanded so quickly that infrastructure and public services cannot always keep up. You will see construction everywhere, new developments, new apartments popping up left and right, and traffic reroutes happening all the time without warning. The biggest concern for families, though, is the inconsistency in public school quality. Some districts in and around Charlotte are excellent, others are average, and a few are not ideal at all. Because the school system is so large and spread out, it's not always clear to newcomers which neighborhoods feed into what schools. This is where many families tell me they feel overwhelmed, they don't know where to look, they want a good school system but do not know where to start. Charlotte is still figuring out how to scale smoothly, and that inconsistency is something you need to be aware of. Fortunately, I do have a tool that tracks each property's school zonings, and I stay up to date on all the future rezonings happening locally. That way you can stay ahead of the curve. Now, it is very important to do your school boundary research before deciding on a home that may be on the outskirts. My property in Ballantyne was actually zoned for the highly rated Ardrey-Kell High School, and they built a new Ballantyne Ridge High School, and we got swapped over just like that. Fortunately, it's a great school, but at the end of the day, we didn't have any say in that decision. So who is Charlotte perfect for? It is ideal for people who want more space, more amenities, beautiful weather, and a calmer day-to-day pace than in major northern or coastal metros. And it is ideal for people who want a clean, active, high-quality lifestyle without the overwhelming pressure of a giant city. So if you are serious about moving to Charlotte, the smartest thing you can do is get specific about neighborhoods. Every area here has its own personality, school options, commute times, restaurants, shopping, and value points. I put together a comprehensive free Charlotte guide that goes into the school ratings, commute maps, cost of living numbers, and the neighborhood pros and cons. So use the link in the description or reach out to me directly. I help people relocate to Charlotte every week, and I would be honored to help you out as well. My contact information is right here and in the description. Call, text, or email me anytime or any questions you might have. So if this video was helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe for more Charlotte real estate deep dives. I'll see you in the next one.